A boy named Su Ping, his face wounded, says his name and laughs quietly. The young man leans towards the small creature with electric sparks at its feet, realizing something important. Frightening monsters appear before the hero's eyes and he remembers his reincarnation. The guy notices an ominous horn on the ground, considering it the most terrifying moment. The hero, with wounds on his face, clutches a trophy, a bloody horn, and next to him a white beast grins menacingly. The creature suddenly rushes at the giant monsters, entering into a fight. A few days ago, the boy woke up in the dark, not yet realizing the changes that had taken place. Waking up, the young man looks in the mirror and realizes that he has become a different person. An electronic ID with his new data appears in front of the guy. The hero reflects on life with a new personality, like everyone who finds themselves in the world after reincarnation. The world the young man found himself in is very similar to Earth. Here the level of technological development has made great strides. However, technologies are of an auxiliary nature, and the basis of life becomes the heavenly beasts. Various types of celestial beasts are closely related to human life, performing simple work. These creatures are also actively used for military purposes. Some heavenly beasts are specially trained to destroy enemies. Even the global influence of states depends on the power of such creatures. The social status of countries is determined by the power of the heavenly beasts, because everything here is subject to their power. The boy realizes that in this world only the strong are respected, and if he wants to survive, he needs to become stronger. The hero decides to carefully plan his actions, and first figure out where he ended up, accepting the new identity of Su Ping. The guy is pondering the origin of this body when a girl suddenly enters the room. The young lady is surprised to recognize the hero and jokingly calls him lazy, wondering why he woke up so early. The young man looks at the photograph and assumes that this girl is his avatar's sister, noting her attractiveness. The guy notices a badge on the girl's chest and wonders what it means. The girl angrily asks him not to stare at her breasts and accuses the hero of perverted intentions, attacking him. The boy runs away from the attack in panic and is amazed by the unexpected strength of his relative. The girl proudly declares that she is a master of fighting beasts and a university student, trying to present herself in a favorable light. The hero is surprised that his sister dislikes him so much and assumes that his avatar was a terrible brother. The sister angrily recalls all the boy's pranks and antics, and he is amazed at what a harmful person he was in the past. The girl claims that she came to kick her brother out of the house at the request of a pet store customer, and demands that he go to work. The guy is thrown out of the house with the threat of regret if he doesn't leave. The hero is surprised that his avatar actually has his own pet store, and not just a bad reputation. The guy decides it's time to get to work. Once outside, the protagonist finds himself in the bustling city of Longjiang. On the city streets, the young man observes many people and unusual creatures, following the directions of the navigator. Arriving at a dirty and old building, the hero guesses that this is where his pet store is located. He passes fingerprint identification and prepares to enter with a smile. The guy lifts the rusty door of the store with difficulty and tells himself that he's almost done it. Inside, the hero discovers the animal relieving itself right in the cage and angrily yells at it. The angry pet store owner threatens to make goulash out of the animal for such behavior. Su Ping takes a powerful blow and is sent flying. Waking up, Su Ping asks the stranger in fear who he is. The guy with the mohawk tells Su Ping that he is his regular customer and has been waiting for him here for a whole week. Su Ping is wary of whether he is facing an enemy. The Black Panther complains that she was kept locked up for 3 whole days. The beast's owner is outraged that Su Ping locked his pet with other predators for so long, and reproaches him for his cruelty. Su Ping apologizes for what happened, assuring that his avatar is simply shameless and will not take a penny for the inconvenience. The dissatisfied customer asks Su Ping with disdain if he thinks he needs any money. The man with the mohawk orders the black beast to attack Su Ping, giving the command to take him. Obeying its master, the black beast rushes at Su Ping with terrifying fury, preparing to teach him a lesson. Su Ping realizes with amazement and fear that the beast has caught him by surprise with its incredible speed. Su Ping, in desperation, proposes to resolve the conflict peacefully and pay triple compensation. The man with the mohawk asks with disdain if Su Ping really thinks of paying off the spoiled fighting beast with money. Suddenly the client will beam and announce that he has a great idea. The man orders his beast Black Monsoon to perform a new attack on Su Ping. Black Monsoon, with the power of a dragon, charges a powerful energy blast to detonate the magazine and restore his honor. Su Ping is amazed by the beast's strength and does not understand why he has dragon blood. The hero is confused as to why he ended up so weak in a world where he himself was recently reborn and did not even have his own pet. At this critical moment, a notification screen appears. A suitable target has been found, and the contract is being concluded. Su Ping is overjoyed to realize that his cheat system has finally activated, and now it really does feel like reincarnation. Su Ping is completely shocked to learn that his contract is somehow connected to a pet store. The guy suddenly finds himself enveloped in blue energy and is surprised by what is happening to his body. The system explains to the hero that the store makes him immune to any damage. The young man is amazed, since attacks in the store are useless. He becomes invulnerable. The shop owner is suspicious whether the object of the contract is really this old homeless shelter. The system confirms Su Ping's guess, and he thinks ironically about discipline. Meanwhile, the battle continues, and Black Monsoon continues to attack with the same ferocity. A man with a mohawk shouts at his beast to tear his opponent to shreds. Su Ping, with a cold expression on his face, stopped the attack and menacingly asked what the enemy was planning to do with his store. The protagonist, as the owner, gives the beast a strict order to lie down, demonstrating strength and control. Su Ping mockingly asks the customer if he was not satisfied with their service, while Black Monsoon lies defeated. The client panics when he realizes that the guy stopped the beast with his bare hands and wonders why he has never heard of such strength. The guy offers, if there are no complaints, to look after the animal for a couple more days. Su Ping smiles sweetly and promises that he will definitely take care of Black Monsoon. The shop owner, with a demonic smile, swears to take care of him again, frightening the enemy even more. The man with the mohawk and his beast run away from the hero in fear, unable to withstand the pressure. Su Ping wonders if he really looks that scary to others. The system notifies the hero that the problem in the store has been resolved, and offers to update the store status. Su Ping notes with interest that this system has proven to be very well thought out, and agrees to the update. A powerful stream of blue energy envelops the owner's shop, announcing the start of the upgrade. Su Ping looks around his shop in amazement after the renovation. The premises sparkle with cleanliness and newness. The hero approaches the reflection and admires how the system has changed everything around him, calling the update cool. The guy notices a mysterious room and decides to see what's inside. The young man discovers cages with small animals and is surprised by their size. Su Ping suspects that the pets will damage the cages, but the system reports that the animals are in a state of cultivation and do not need food or a toilet. The guy asks the system what to do to prevent the new owners from causing trouble, and who should take these two pets. The system congratulates the owner on starting the main quest, and offers to choose between the Thunder Mouse and the Moondog. The hero chooses a mouse, explaining that he has a bad relationship with dogs. Information about Thunder Mouse is described. Its main skill is to be cute, which Su Ping is very surprised about. The system explains that the pet will learn new skills depending on the owner's training style, and suddenly the boy and the mouse find themselves in the center of an energy vortex. Su Ping is stunned and realizes that he has entered the cultivation dimension. The hero and the mouse are delighted by the huge tree and strange crystals, marveling at the local inhabitants. Su Ping notes that the place is scary and jokes about meeting meter-long beasts. The guy encounters a giant creature, the king of beasts, which terrifies him. The main character comes to his senses covered in blood and doesn't understand anything, wondering why he's still alive. The system informs Su Ping that he was killed by the Beast King, but is now in the resurrection space. The guy is puzzled why the system did not warn him about such a danger, and is interested in his points. The system informs the young man that there is no limit to the number of free resurrections, but points are deducted for failing a mission, and there is no permission to evaluate yet due to a lack of points. The hero sarcastically notes that the system is in no hurry to help and expresses its dissatisfaction. Su Ping and his pet enter into a temporary contract, filled with energy. The system informs Su Ping that his mental state has successfully merged with the Thunder Mouse, and wishes him a successful search. The young man notices the peaceful herbivorous animals, and decides that this is a chance for victory while the enemy is not dangerous. After signing a temporary contract, Su Ping begins to sense the pet's fear, and senses approaching danger. A 10-meter giant sandworm appears in front of the hero, inspiring horror. Su Ping instantly recognizes the threat and prepares to act along with the mouse. The guy decides that the kids are less than 100 meters away, and orders his pet to attack. The protagonist strategically aims the mouse to attack the worm in the neck. Su Ping understands that the Thunder Mouse's strength is clearly not enough, but he is happy with the possibility of endless resurrections and gradual progress. The mouse is successfully resurrected after being defeated. The hero has an infinite number of attempts. Su Ping commands the pet to constantly move closer to the beast and use agility to dodge and circle around the enemy. The young man commands to attack the gap in the enemy's shell and use the dash right now. The hero happily notes that they managed to inflict damage. Su Ping activates Resurrection, supporting Thunder Mouse in battle. The guy reactivates Resurrection to avoid giving up in the fight. Thunder Mouse is resurrected again and ready to attack. The system informs that due to the high concentration of thunder in the environment, the mouse has mastered a new ability. Now the dash has become thunderous. A delighted Su Ping notices that the mouse skill has become stronger and can now break through the enemy's defense. The protagonist commands the pet to use this new skill to win the battle. Su Ping is delighted that his little animal has beautifully defeated the enemy, but decides to give the mouse a rest before the next hunt. Suddenly, the guy is confused by an earthquake that has begun, and he encounters swarms of giant sandworms, of which there are too many. Su Ping, badly wounded and with broken ribs, reflects on the futility of fighting the adults. Thundermouse is also exhausted and has not yet recovered from the last battle. The guy decides that it would be wiser not to resist and choose the tactics of resurrections with further level growth. The hero consciously makes a sacrifice and finds himself face to face with a giant monster. Su Ping turns to her pet with hope even in a critical situation. Thundermouse performs a miracle and deals a sudden lightning attack on the enemy. The guy is amazed that the pet was able to use Thunder Dash again and of its own free will. A fighting spirit awakens in the young man's eyes. He feels a surge of strength and intends to consolidate the experience he has gained. The hero takes the trophy, thinking that even the beast did not give up completely. Su Ping resolutely declares that he too is not going to give up and will fight to the end. Despite the slim odds, Su Ping and his pet rush into battle against the enemies. The young man with the Thundermouse shouts resolutely that he will fight to the death. After a fierce battle, Su Ping wearily exclaims that even after death and resurrection, a feeling of fatigue remains. The hero realizes that his body is still weak and decides that serious training will be required to improve his physical fitness. Near the numerous craters, Su Ping senses impending danger and warns the mouse of enemies nearby. The boy notices that the terrain is different from the previous battlefield and explores the hard surface of the crater. Suddenly, a 10-meter stone cockroach, smaller in size than the previous opponents, appears from underground. The monster attacks and spews a stream of acid, threatening the heroes with violence. The boy and the Thundermouse narrowly escape the acid, realizing the new danger. Su Ping orders the beast to be fully prepared and show the enemies all the progress it has made. Su Ping, covered in scratches and fatigue, is depicted among the remains of the monsters. Next to the owner is a Thundermouse. The system records 68 resurrections for Su Ping and 847 for the pet. The hero and the animal lie among mountains of corpses, and the system reports 472 destroyed enemies. Su Ping is surprised that the mouse has mastered thunder, residual perception, and as many as 10 secret techniques. The progress of combat skills of not only the mouse, but also other animals is shown, from elementary to ancient secret skills. The exhausted young man thanks the system and asks to return them home as soon as possible. The scene switches to the annual competition of Longjiang Fengshan University, which is being actively broadcast. On the final day of the qualifiers, spectators gathered and discussed whose heavenly beast would win this year. A girl with red hair appears among the contestants, and the audience speculates about the possible favorites, Yehao, Zhang Shuihan, or Zhan Xiao. Introducing Su Yanyan, a third-year university student and master of martial beasts, who is reflecting on the seriousness of the competition at the regional selections. Su Yanyin recalls how Zhang Shuihan won a convincing victory in the previous competition. The girl admits that she often came across talented opponents, and once Yehao won. The heroine realizes that she has already lost twice in a row, and now she faces a battle with Zhang Xiao, having only a 100-toothed tiger. She is determined to take the Thundermouse from Su Ping, knowing that her own strength is still not enough. According to the rules of the competition, 2 fighting animals are required, so the heroine hurries to get her second pet. Su Yanyin walks into an empty pet store and calls out to one of the workers. The girl notes that she managed to arrive on time, although she is surprised that the store is almost empty. The heroine, looking for the store owner, raises her voice, saying that she has come to pick up her pet. Su Ping comes out to greet the guest. The girl confirms that she left the Thundermouse about half a month ago and wants to take it back. And Su Ping realizes that this is the pet's real owner. Su Ping confidently replies that everything is fine with the Thundermouse, but reminds the owner not to forget to pay for the services. The girl thinks that the store owner is behaving strangely and is worried about the payment. The owner of the Thundermouse smiles and promises that, despite the early visit, she will pay everything in full. The girl is genuinely surprised, not understanding what could have alarmed her owner so much. The guy says goodbye to his pet with a little sadness, saying that it's time for him to go home. Before parting, Su Ping asks the mouse not to forget him when she returns to her owner. Money is credited to the store account and is automatically converted into energy points. The system sets the following task. The young man needs to acquire his own heavenly beast to become a master of combat beasts in 7 days. Su Ping is surprised to realize that he can now become a master of fighting beasts. Having opened a shop in his mind, the hero wants to buy an awakening potion, but discovers a lack of energy points. Although the system allows him to convert money into energy, Su Ping checks his balance in surprise and can't believe he has so little energy. The hero is outraged, because thanks to his training, the mouse mastered several secret skills, and the reward turned out to be modest. In the arena, the commentator is delighted by the spectacle. Zhang Xiao's demonic dragon dog wins with the first attack. The beast's powerful blow seriously injures Su Yanying's 100-toothed tiger, ruining her chances of winning. Zhang Xiao's demonic beast, called the Chosen Terminator, displays its colossal strength, causing admiration. The master of martial beasts himself, Zhang Xiao, a third-year student at Fengshan University, offers to continue the duel with a cold smile. From the judges' box, observers discuss that the fight is boring, with the wounded beast Su Yanying practically not resisting his opponent. One of the judges notes that Su Yanying was once a strong athlete, but now she has almost no chance. Her beast is seriously injured. The woman with red hair says that the heroine is still young and talks about injustice. Either give up or fight without a chance of winning. Two other experts explain that despite the minimal odds, the result of this fight affects Su Yanying's chances of reaching the main competition, and that is why she is not giving up. The commentator calls on us to see how Su Yanying will handle the choice between admitting defeat or fighting to the death. The girl is upset by her quick loss, and notes that her 100-toothed tiger has never recovered from its previous injuries. Su Yanying realizes that after the beast's new injury, she has almost no chance left, and it's time to end her student career. Zhang Xiao disdainfully allows his demon dog to finish the fight and talks about giving his opponent a dignified death. Zhang Xiao's dog performs the fire dragon move, launching a deadly attack straight towards the opponent. At the moment of a strong blow, Su Yanying loudly announces surrender, ending the fight. The spectators in the hall are frightened. One of them is in a panic, but he is reassured that the judges have the situation under control. The girl realizes that among the students, few are capable of destroying the star shield, and defeat is worthy of respect. The referee intervenes, signaling Su Yanying's surrender, and helping to protect her and the beast from danger. Zhang Xiao is declared the winner of the first round, but tells his opponent not to hope for luck next time. Su Yanying is worried that all she has left is a thunder mouse, which seems to have been eating everything since returning from the store. The girl understands that she cannot throw a mouse into a senselessly dangerous fight, because even a tiger lost with one attack. The announcer announces that Su Yanying only has the thunder mouse left for the next round, and the hostess wonders if the hidden strength enhancement skill will be enough. The audience mockingly discusses how Su Yanying's pet has no chance against Zhang Xiao's third-stage demon dog. The crowd and the inner voice push Su Yanying to give up, and the thunder mouse takes a fighting stance. Seeing the huge gap in strength, the heroine decides not to risk her pet's life and is going to give up. Suddenly a comment appears that the thunder mouse has already come out and the countdown to the fight begins. Zhang Xiao happily comments that this little thing came out on its own, and the countdown begins and the fighting spirit flares up. The demonic dragonhound is given the command to attack and begin combat, unleashing a torrent of fiery attacks. One of the judges notices the unusual state of the thunder mouse, and wonders with surprise if something unexpected has happened. Sunyan commands Thunder Mouse to use lightning speed to dodge the attack. The owner's pet confidently avoids the fiery attack of the demonic dog, which causes a wave of surprise. The girl with red hair notes to herself that everything is too strange, and begins to suspect unusual changes. The commentator reports that the mouse was knocked down by the attacks, and Zhang Xiao happily orders his beast to finish off the enemy. The demon dog prepares for close combat, and Zhang Xiao plans not to end the round quickly, but to teach the mouse a lesson. Su Yanying urgently activated the third-stage strength enhancement secret skill to save the situation. The animal dodges with incredible lightning speed, which takes the enemy by surprise. The judges and spectators are surprised by the mouse's impressive speed and watch the progress of the fight with interest. The commentator notes that the Thunder Mouse was indeed able to avoid the blow, and Su Yanying decides to immediately go on the attack. The judge in the courtroom strains his eyes and is amazed by what is happening, suspecting something special in the mouse's actions. Thunder Mouse unleashes a 7th-stage Thunder System attack, creating a powerful energy discharge. Releasing the power of the Thunderclap skill, the mouse directs a massive stream of lightning at the arena's protective barrier. Spectators and participants are stunned by what they see, not understanding what is happening in the arena. The judges are shocked that a first-stage beast was able to activate a 7th-stage ability, and call the youth terrifying. Zhang Xiao is horrified to realize that he cannot believe his opponent's strength. The commentator excitedly announces that the Thunder Mouse has indeed mastered the 7th-stage technique, and congratulates the winner of the fight. There are enthusiastic and shocked cries among the audience. No one believes that a mouse could master such a strong skill from the first step. Su Yanying is puzzled as to how her Thunder Mouse was able to master the most powerful skill so quickly, and is now thinking about the reasons for such progress. The girl begins to suspect that the pet's incredible strength is somehow connected to that very store. She looks at the mouse with surprise, and wonders inwardly if the whole transformation is explained by that same unusual store. Su Yanyin speculates that the owner of the mysterious shop may be the legendary master, although he doesn't look like him at all. Meanwhile, Su Ping is in the store, sneezing and grumbling at the pet, who is not allowing himself to be served properly. He guesses that someone is thinking about him at this moment, and the pet is clearly pleased with his pranks. The announcer announces that this fight will go down in the history of the university, because a first-level pet used a 7th-level skill. Zhang Xiao realizes with annoyance that he underestimated his opponent and blames himself for it. The arena announces that the score is still tied and the final round will be decisive, and Zhang Xiao is going to call for a countermeasure to win. He summons his new beast and admits that Su Yanyin has proven to be a good opponent. In the next moment, Zhang Xiao vows that the final fight will decide everything, and now he is ready to fight to the end. A stone rhinoceros appears on the field, becoming a new serious threat to Su Yanying. Su Ping, watching the battle, quickly realizes that Thunderclap will no longer help, because the new opponent is an Earth-type beast, which shocks Su Yanyin, noticing that the opponent is using a hidden ace. The commentator notes that the 4th-stage stone rhinoceros is enormous in size and extremely dangerous for the Thunder Mouse. The round begins, and it is clear that both sides are determined, but the audience is unsure about the outcome for the mouse. One of the judges is sure that the animal would have been defeated if it had only had the first level, but its fighting spirit and strength are clearly higher. The referee suggests that the Thunder Mouse has not yet reached his full potential, and the round officially begins. Zhang Xiao commands his beast to increase its power and momentum to the 2nd stage, raising the level of combat. The stone rhino receives an additional Tier 3 armor boost, making it an unstoppable foe. The commentator states that after applying numerous enhancements, the rhinoceros's power is now no lower than the 5th stage, and Su Yanying feels enormous pressure. Su Yanyin tries to close the distance to use the enhancement skill, but the distance is too great. As a result, the Thunder Mouse ends up next to the rhino without the necessary buff, which surprises the commentator with the participant's mistake. Zhang Xiao triumphantly orders the stone rhinoceros to crush the mouse, threatening it with instant death. The Thunder Mouse suddenly splits into two and jumps out from under the paws of the stone rhinoceros, escaping mortal danger. The judges are stunned and discuss the impossibility of residual separation in a real fight. The commentator confirms that this residual separation is another incredible Stage 7 skill, causing unprecedented interest among team leaders. Thunder Mouse decides not to engage the rhinoceros in combat, and instead charges towards Zhang Xiao, surprising everyone. Su Ping is glad that the Thunder Mouse caught his opponent off guard and took advantage of his mistake. Zhang Xiao panics and tries to defend himself by activating the 3rd stage star shield as the mouse approaches him. Thunder Mouse and her residual clone simultaneously use Thunderclap to break the opponent's defense. The commentator explains that Zhang Xiao's shield was almost immediately destroyed by the double attack, and it is now unknown whether he will survive such a blow. The Divine Phoenix Judge intervenes to save Zhang Xiao, who is knocked unconscious by a powerful attack. The judge solemnly announces that Zhang Xiao has lost in the 3rd round, deciding the outcome of the fight. The commentator announces Su Yanyin's victory, congratulating her on successfully passing the selection. Su Yanyin is shocked by what is happening, and is happy and realizes that the Thunder Mouse has mastered not only Thunderclap, but also residual cloning. She is sure that the hidden talents of the pet store owner are the cause of everything, and is impressed by his abilities and nondescript appearance. Su Ping thinks about making money and realizes that he can't just rely on the store's operations. The system tells him that the store currently only provides 3 services: shelter, rental, and food sales. The rental costs 10 yuan per hour. To rent the celestial beasts, the owner must breed them, and to produce feed, he must personally collect the ingredients. Realizing that he has neither money nor qualifications yet, Su Ping chooses the 3rd option: selling feed. He asks the system where he can collect ingredients, inquiring about the possibility of obtaining them outside of special zones. Looking back on the past few days, Su Ping regretfully realized that he had missed a great opportunity to prepare food in the high-ranking zone. Deciding that this cannot continue, he demands a list of all cultivation zones from the system in order to catch up and become a master of war beasts. Su Ping chooses a suitable cultivation zone and decides not to miss any more opportunities to level up his pet. He enters a dimension called Extraterrestrial Meteorite 10,021, finding himself in a beautiful and unusual world. The system gives him a set of beginner's items, including a tool for evaluating ancient flowers and herbs. Using the power of thought, he activates the function of receiving items from the reward cube. He manages to successfully retrieve the item, and the first successes in collecting resources begin. Su Ping studies the properties of the plants he finds. Some restore stamina, others heal, or are used for the needs of animals. The hero realizes that the food that can be collected safely is too cheap to sell and tries to find the best. In the grass, he suddenly discovers a dangerous beast, a stone snake of the 8th stage, and hides in shock. Realizing that the best raw materials are only found in the most dangerous places, Su Ping rushes to obtain expensive ingredients, despite the danger and limited storage. At the last moment, he deftly dodges the attack of the stone snake, continuing to collect the most valuable and expensive herbs. Su Ping hurriedly puts the rare plant into storage, but is injured by a stone snake attack. Despite the danger, he continues to collect expensive ingredients, considering their value worthy of any effort, but falls into the mouth of a monster. Exhausted after battles and numerous deaths, the hero admits that even 30 resurrections a day tire him out greatly. However, Su Ping is confident that there will be no further problems, since he already has the necessary resources. Returning home, he decides to sort everything he managed to collect into the store's storage area. The scene shifts to the old man, concerned about his pet's health, reporting that he hasn't eaten anything for a week. A young man offers to try the latest expensive food for skybirds, assuring them of its effectiveness. The girl happily agrees to give the pet food and immediately invites him to try it. After eating the food, the bird of heaven starts to bleed black blood, and a dead centipede appears, causing shock and alarm in those around it. The girl panics and explains that Xiaohui would never eat even the world's rarest dark centipede, while the man urges her to urgently go to the Celestial Beast Clinic, suspecting a dangerous heart infection. The grandfather grabs the sick scarlet bird in his arms, deciding to urgently call a doctor. A doctor comes to the family and joyfully announces that Xiaohui is now saved. The girl explains to her grandmother that Xiaohui is seriously ill, and they are forced to go to Shangchun for treatment. The old man and grandmother are surprised that Xiaohui began to eat, admitting that the seller did not deceive. Someone explains that the scarlet bird has a pure attribute and should not eat any random food. Otherwise, it loses its appetite and gets sick. He also adds that the pet will recover if it eats the fruits of the rock rose, and promises to consult with any questions. The young man is outraged by this advice, believing that dividing food into types is an invention of traders. He asks his grandmother how much the bird feed cost. The grandmother admits that the purchase cost 130 yen per fruit, and over 1,000 yen was spent in a week. The girl shares a rumor that many illegal stores add chemicals to food. Pets become dependent, and if you take such food away from them, they literally go crazy. The family is in a panic when they learn that if the pet continues to eat the food, it will die, and the grandfather exclaims in horror, not believing what he has heard. The young man decides to find the suspicious store where the food was bought, and demands to know its name. Grandma recalls with excitement that it was the Azornik pet store. Family members come to the store and demand to speak with the owner. The man aggressively asks Su Ping what he adds to the feed for the heavenly beasts. Su Ping is surprised by the accusations, but insists his food is all natural, and asks if the scarlet bird had any side effects. The man does not believe the explanations and demands honesty, angry that the bird could not tear itself away from his food. People on the street are discussing how the store has already had problems with sanitation, and they recall revelations about food with dangerous additives in illegal stores. The girl suggests that instead of shouting, they send the feed for testing to the Association of Producers to ensure its quality, and the brother agrees. Su Ping angrily mentally revolted. In your opinion, I sell bad feed. Su Ping intimidates the visitors with a suddenly powerful aura, and demands proof of their accusations, which frightens the girl. The girl's brother angrily attacks Su Ping, accusing him of aggression against his sister. The man grabs Su Ping by the neck and threatens to kill him, asking if he wants to die. Su Ping, with icy calm and powerful strength, easily removes the opponent's hand from himself. The attacker screams in pain, shocked by Su Ping's unexpected strength and feeling powerless. The humiliated guy, in pain, leaves the store, accusing Su Ping of rudeness, and the girl watches what is happening in confusion. Su Ping understands that if he doesn't explain himself to his clients, he risks losing not only his points, but his entire clientele. He claims that his food has no problems and is ready to prove it to everyone present. Angry customers don't believe Su Ping's words and demand that the store be closed immediately. Before starting the demonstration, Su Ping asks the crowd if anyone has a low-ranking water-type heavenly beast with them. The girl replies that she has a low-ranking water-type beast. At Su Ping's request, she releases her pet water beast named Sprinkler, who has simple skills. The brother cautiously asks Su Ping what he is going to do with this beast. Su Ping explains that he will feed the beast a blue yuan fruit to prove the safety and effectiveness of his food. Outside, spectators discuss how they have only heard of such food in special stores, and even joke about its purpose. After Sprinkler eats the fruit, a burst of energy is released throughout the store, leaving everyone surprised and shocked. The girl panics and asks what is happening to Sprinkler and why he is glowing intensely. It turns out that the little animal has risen in rank. It has evolved to the second stage with an increase in strength. Su Ping comments that the blue yuan fruit does indeed raise the rank of the heavenly beasts, and this food is not fake at all. He then goes on to explain the rules for rank advancement, explaining that bloodline beasts can naturally grow to a high rank as they mature and cultivate. Su Ping explains that if the beast does not train, its strength will not grow further, and the audience is amazed at how quickly the rank increase occurred. The girl's brother is convinced by the beast's appearance that its level has truly risen and compares it to federal relics. He comes to the conclusion that if such feeding is available in a regular store, then the owner's personality is too frightening. The girl is surprised and asks Su Ping if he was replaced, because the result is truly stunning. The brother apologizes for his rudeness and admits that he and his sister went too far. Su Ping coldly accepts their apology, and his brother says that they were blind and ask for forgiveness. He comically declares that 8,700 per fruit is a great price, and he is an honest businessman, and everyone is amazed. The brother happily agrees to pay, believing that it is incredibly profitable for such a result, despite the fact that the sister is sorry for the money. Su Ping muses stonily that the price is still very low considering his own efforts and the dangers involved in obtaining it. Trying to raise the prices, Su Ping is refused by the system, and then advises to use the leaves of the colorful surbud for the beast, and to continue the course of the berries of the rock rose for the recovery of the bird. The sister sighs with relief, and the son of the family confidently declares that he will take care of all the expenses, surprised by the effectiveness of the feed for such a low price. The livestock breeders in the crowd are also vying with each other to ask to sell them the miracle product, not believing that such an effect is possible so cheaply. The seller happily reassures customers, urging them to wait in line, while everyone around them is eager to buy the blue fruits. The protagonist triumphs, happily ordering the system to open the store, because he finally saved up money for the awakening potion. The young man looks at the bottle of green liquid, knowing that he can now become a master of fighting beasts, and excitedly swallows his saliva. The guy decisively drinks the potion he bought, mentally urging himself not to doubt. With the essence of awakening within, Su Ping feels a powerful surge of energy, accompanied by a bright golden light. The hero's eyes fill with a new radiance, and he realizes that his moment has finally arrived. Su Ping proudly exclaims his success as he stands in the golden light, confirming that he is now a true master of the fighting beasts. Meanwhile, one of the clients is amazed to notice that even his reaction speed has increased, being able to easily catch an ordinary fly. The protagonist studies the requirements for using the Chaos Spirit Pool, and realizes that the chance of getting a valuable pet is very small. The guy decides to upgrade his pool to level 2, hoping to increase his chances. Having made sure that there is enough energy, the young man calmly starts the process of the appearance of a new beast. A powerful pillar of light shines through the hall, radiating magical energy as the ritual continues. The system reports the successful use of the second-level pool, and the hero anxiously awaits the result. A strange figure appears in a thick cloud, and the guy is surprised to realize that a small skeleton has come to him. The young man is indignant that he spent 100 points for a funny skeleton, and the pet only laughs embarrassedly in response. Su Ping reasons that even with all the bonuses in the cultivation zone, it will be difficult for the skeleton to survive, but by investing in killing skills, one can gain benefits. On the monitor, the hero sees the requirements. Even the Thunder Mouse was stronger than the skeleton, and the skeleton itself is rated as the lowest level pet. Despite the huge difference in characteristics, the guy with humor and optimism decides to make a real diamond out of the skeleton. The hero hears the client's voice and is surprised by the familiar address, holding a small skeleton in his arms. Two girls with a pet appear at the door and call the owner of the store, surprised that their pet store is located in such a remote place. The young man greets the visitors with a displeased tone and immediately clarifies the amount of the debt, inquiring about the purpose of their visit. The red-haired heroine angrily corrects the guy's name, introducing herself as Su Yanyin, and asks him what he did with the Thunder Mouse. The protagonist, confused, notes to himself that the same scene with complaints and attempts to justify himself is being repeated again. Against the backdrop of a crimson mirage, he replies that he was just walking and playing with his pet, trying to look innocent. The guy turns to the animal and confirms with a smile that everything was exactly like that, and the mouse gets scared and confirms the owner's words. The girl is mentally amazed that for the hero the word walk means severe hardening, and the mouse, who was not afraid even of the 4th rank, now trembles in front of the owner. The heroine's imagination conjures up a terrifying image of a store owner who organizes walks comparable to animal abuse. The second girl with blue hair notes with horror that the main character's pressure even exceeds the 6th level, amazed by his hidden abilities. The blue-haired girl whispers to Su Yanying that the owner looks completely ordinary, and the shop is small, wondering if her friend is mistaken. The red-haired heroine explains to her friend that she cannot explain everything now, but she considers the young man a master of the 7th stage and fears for their safety. The protagonist, thinking about the situation, realizes that the system does not require a limited task, so it is not about the pets, and asks if his prices are too high. In Su Yanying's wild imagination, he suddenly appears as a terrifying merchant testing a customer's honesty with a high price for his services. The heroine, remembering how her Thundermouse became strong for only 108 yuan, frantically counts. Indeed, the prices are not that high. Su Yunyin decides to show her gratitude, and transfers 1,000 yuan to the hero to thank him for his care, and Su Ping is surprised by such an act. The system reports that the transfer failed, the other party rejected the payment, and the girl is shocked and does not understand what is happening. The guy looks at the bracelet with indifference, considering the whole situation rather funny and ridiculous. The angry heroine decides that 1,000 yuan is not enough, and transfers 5,000, determined to win the master's favor. The translation fails again, causing Su Yanyin to despair. And then she asks Lele to help with this issue, and the blue-haired friend sighs and agrees, realizing that there is no choice anyway. Su Yanying firmly convinces herself that meeting the master is a great fortune, and sends a transfer of 10,000 yuan for a decent job. However, the girl again encounters a system failure, and the guy looks more and more irritated each time. Not wanting to give up, the red-haired heroine furiously tries to make another payment. Finally, Su Yanyin decides to take extreme measures. She transfers 100,000 yuan, and hopefully asks the hero to accept the money quickly. The girl is shocked to discover that this impressive transfer is not going through again, and desperately asks for the real price. Su Ping, pretending to be serious, tells him to get to the point, because if he wants to move forward, he will have to get used to the new rules. The heroine is amazed in tears. Is it really true that the owner of the magic shop does not demand any payment at all? The girl admits that they will soon have a competition. All her other animals are wounded, and all hope now is only on the Thundermouse, and begs to strengthen the animal in 3 days. The main character accepts the order with interest, rejoicing at the return of a familiar beast, and planning to upgrade the new creature at the same time. Su Ping wonders how profitable the service has been, but notes that the store currently only accepts applications below the 3rd level. The guy explains to the girl the cost of enhancing the heavenly beast, and names the price for 3 days. The girl agrees that this level of cultivation will bring great benefits, and declares that she is buying the service. Money is deposited into the store's account, and the young man asks if any other services are needed besides cultivation. The heroine is surprised that they also treat animals here, and decides to take advantage of this service. The guy asks to summon a pet that needs to be treated, and the girl summons 3 animals at once. The guy is surprised and asks if this will affect his reputation. During an unexpected scene with animals, the young man gets hit and the heroine is scared. The young man, wiping away the blood, says that the price for 3 animals will be 21,600, and asks to recalculate before paying. The girl, a little scared, agrees and is ready to pay the required amount. On a special platform, the animals fall asleep under protection, and the system records the flow of money and energy. The hero receives a side quest to cultivate pets, and ponders how to increase the properties of the small skeleton. The guy resolutely agrees to complete both tasks and confirms acceptance of the assignment. The young man is happy that he has the chance to choose any cultivation zone, and looks for a suitable place for the small skeleton. The main character chooses the kingdom of the deceased Hundan. The guy, along with a small skeleton and another pet, enters the selected area. The heroes are greeted by bloody tentacles. The guy notes a strong smell of blood and a strange atmosphere. The young man complains about the heavy smell of corpses, and at that moment, a small skeleton comes forward and calls the hero. Suddenly, a huge paw crushes the small skeleton, which dies from the impact. The guy discovers the enemy's appearance and realizes that it is the revived skeleton of Thundermouse. A furious attack begins from a terrifying enemy who suddenly appears in front of the heroes. The boy and his companions notice something strange among the skeletal remains, and the little skeleton is scared. The hero is surprised that not all creatures in the elite zones have reached the Beast Kingdom. The guy sees the little skeleton die from the blow and immediately uses Resurrection, commanding the rodent to attack. The young man orders the rodent to use the Thunder Sword and cut off the enemy's arm. The enemy manages to strike back, causing the animal to die from internal organ rupture. A reanimated skeleton with a glowing blue hand growls menacingly, filling the field with its aura. The skeleton launches a devastating attack, scattering bone fragments around. The protagonist analyzes the situation and realizes that the enemy has become stronger due to a special stone, then again uses Resurrection on the pets. The young man uses the magic book to strengthen himself and prepare for a decisive action. The hero and his pets strengthen their deadly aura and deliver a powerful finishing blow to the enemy. The hero, along with his pets, revives them right on the battlefield and prepares to attack the giant skeleton enemy. The guy analyzes the situation and notices that the enemy is vulnerable due to design features and easily loses balance. The young man understands that the enemy, although he looks menacing, is actually quite fragile. The guy commands to use residual separation to create illusions of speed. Thundermouse, on command of its master, uses a thunderclap attack towards a skeletal enemy. The hero distributes tasks. One pet cuts off the skeleton's leg, the second hits the cervical vertebrae, the small skeleton helps with support, and the hero himself dreams of getting the precious stone. The hero notices how a small skeleton finds and holds a magic stone in his hands, surprised by the actions of his companion. The boy, relieved, jokes with the little skeleton, and praises him for a job well done, rejoicing in the result of their joint efforts. The hero and his pets notice changes in the atmosphere. The sky turns red and mysterious symbols appear around. A mysterious figure of a woman with wings and a bone pattern on her body materializes in front of the young man, causing him surprise and alarm. A mysterious woman with wings concentrates a stream of powerful blue energy around herself, against the backdrop of a bloody lake. The guy notices the barrier and is surprised that his identifier does not work, assuming that he is facing a high-ranking creature. Streams of energy penetrate the hero, filling his body, which is reflected on his face. The powerful enemy controls the energy threads, attacking the young man with them, who tries to resist. After an instant defeat, a message appears about the death of the hero, the rodent, and the small skeleton, and the guy comments on the strength of his opponent. The hero turns to the winged woman and politely asks if she is the boss of this dimension. The guy waves his hand with a smile and ironically asks the enemy about her intelligence. The young man doesn't have time to finish speaking. He is again struck by a powerful energy attack, and the flow envelops his head. The guy, sitting in the red glow, is disappointed in the dialogue, reflecting that the language is not understood, and that the attempts are in vain. Gradually the hero teleports to a new safe place, where he finally feels calm. A guy in an unexpected place is surprised by the surroundings, looking around at the giant spikes. The young man sees a strange landscape with a huge army in front of him and wonders where he has ended up. The guy notices a woman with a hood among his surroundings and recognizes her as an old acquaintance. The hero is suddenly attacked by a huge purple hand with a curse, and he realizes that he is trapped. A menacing skeleton in armor appears on the throne, demanding that the hero explain how he got there. The young man feels enormous pressure from the presence of the ruler, and answers the question with difficulty, feigning uncertainty. The guy is confused and wonders why they don't kill him right away, and guesses that they want to find out something important from him. The hero realizes his hopeless situation. He is being held tightly. There is no escape. The task is not completed, and the system is useless. The ruler's huge skull face says that the guy is not an ordinary person, and warns that the next question will be the last. The hero concludes that the skeleton was wary of his powers from the very beginning, and reasons that he still has a chance to maneuver, since the locals do not know about the existence of the system. The guy decides that he can only use one method, and introduces himself as a clone of the most powerful man on the planet, who has come to check the threat level. The voice of the terrible enemy declares that everyone will be exterminated, after which the knight orders to protect the king. A massive explosion occurs on the battlefield, and the hooded heroine watches the destruction in shock. The young man ironically asks the enemy if he is tormented by his conscience for the death of his loyal servants, and hints that only the weak are subject to him. The Bone Lord claims that nothing can threaten him, and that his only defense is his disregard for others. The protagonist stands serenely and smugly rejoices that the enemy has no chance while he is held by the effect of magic. The monster characters are amazed to see the events rewind as they look at the hero. The guy is resurrected again, habitually perceiving another death and noting that he doesn't even feel pain. A powerful enemy realizes that the hero is able to change the time and space of the realm, considering him a terrifying invader. After another death, the young man grinningly tells his opponent that he apparently possesses a very valuable magic stone. The Skull Lord notices the hero's disappearance in horror. The Skeleton King is amazed that the guy uses two higher laws at once and teleports beyond his sight. The hero appears in a safe place with a smile and is glad that his backup plan worked, calling his opponents naive. The boy happily greets his little skeleton, who has already freed himself from the chains. The young man shows the skeleton a huge red crystal to share the spoils. The boy asks the pet to absorb the stone, explaining that now he has to enter the battle. The small skeleton charges in fury, using the basic sword technique. A huge demon and many monsters ready for battle appear before the heroes. The guy with the pets watches the waves of enemies and entrusts all the experience to the little skeleton. The young man sits on a pile of bones among endless corpses, thinking about the endless waves of small enemies. A huge monster with a red core emerges from the remains, and the young man is confused, thinking that this enemy has not yet been defeated. The guy happily notes the strengthening of his pets, speaking of their murderous intent. The demon decides that he can advance further if he destroys the hero, and rushes into attack. A huge shadow hangs over the hero and his companions. The guy calls on the small skeleton to use the basic art of the sword. The small skeleton deals a powerful blow to the monster using a red energy wave. The monster summons an army of blue creatures that attack the guy and his companions. The skeleton, the young man, and the rodent find themselves captured by the hands of blue monsters. The hero is shocked by what is happening. The boy realizes that he is captured again and calls the rodent for decisive action. The boy commands his pet to attack the monster's core with thunderclap. The monster blocks the attack with electricity, and the guy is surprised that the enemy was able to defend himself. The hero analyzes the situation, realizes that he cannot determine the identity of the enemy, but finds out two important weaknesses. Damage to the hands does not work, and the core is really vulnerable. The boy, grabbed by many hands, orders the rodent to use thunderclap and cover his body with electrical energy. Thundermouse activates its electrical defense, releasing a powerful charge despite its grip. The hero is surprised to notice that the pet unexpectedly uses some skill. Multiple hands are engulfed in an electric discharge. The pet breaks free from the grip. The guy finally gets free and immediately gives the command to the little skeleton to attack. A small skeleton with glowing eyes makes a furious attack on the enemy. The hero happily notes that the small skeleton, having absorbed part of the Bloodstone's powers, has significantly increased its power thanks to the absorption skill. The guy returns to the store and prepares to look at the characteristics of his pets. The young man is surprised by the results of the test. The pet's strength is already at the 7th level, but the rank is only the 2nd, and he doubts whether the system made a mistake. The hero watches with interest the visionary image of the Bone Lord, and reflects on the beginning of endless chaos. The boy is surprised that rattle-type beasts can master undead skills, and ponders the reaction of the spectators in the arena. The rodent and the skeleton are restored and sleep in a protective field, and the young man wants to see the result of their development. The guy asks the system if he really has a map of the star Hundun in his hands. The illustration explains the essence of the map, which allows you to correlate acupuncture points, powers, and bones with energy stars. The guy is delighted. He succeeds, and he realizes that he can engage in a new method of cultivation. The hero meditates in the star universe, saturating himself with the star power of Hundun. The young man feels the energy accumulating inside him, and concludes that he must absorb the energy of the stars. The guy deftly tries to grab the glowing particles, but notices that with his rank as a master of combat beasts, it is not easy. The young man understands that the energy of the stars directly penetrates the body, although he cannot catch it with his hands. The guy decides to try to concentrate his core on the directions of energy movement around him. The hero sees how his core begins to effectively absorb the energy of the stars, and rejoices in his success. The young man understands that in order to absorb the star power, he must use it himself, and remembers the 3 great pansies. After using one of the armors, the boy notices how the star clusters in his body increase, and the energy radiates as a bright light. The hero checks his characteristics and is surprised that his strength is only at the 3rd level, and the system asks to increase it further. After taking 3 potions, the young man notes that his level is now at the middle 3rd level and is very happy with his rapid progress. The boy learns that this universe is created by the Hundun star map and can imitate the real universe, and also receives a warning about larger stars. The hero wonders what inhalation means, and suggests that it might be an interruption to training. The guy comes to the conclusion that we are talking about a food chain, where risks and opportunities coexist. The young man decides to avoid giant stars and absorb only those smaller than him, complaining about the difficulties that arise. The boy recalls how a third-stage martial beastmaster, a determined girl, once rushed in and attacked him. He doubts whether he can withstand her blow now, looking at the night city and hearing the call not to remain hungry. At dinner, the hero politely thanks his mother for her incredible cooking and returns to his room. Mom, clearing away the dishes, tells him that his sister is training for a competition and promises to bake his favorite corn pie in the morning. The young man smiles and responds as he climbs the stairs. He thinks that even though the woman is the mother of the body's previous owner, she still exudes the comfort of domestic kindness. Stretching, the boy decides to continue training, thinking about Su Lingyu's preparation and the possibility of talking to her. In the hallway, he notices golden star power flowing outside the door, and is surprised by its appearance in the house. Opening the door slightly, the hero assures himself that he is simply observing his sister's cultivation and not peeping. By analyzing the scattered sparks, the young man concludes that the stellar power in the real world is weaker and more evenly distributed than in Hundong, where it is concentrated by a giant star. The guy decides to study university techniques to increase his star power and speed up his cultivation in the Hundun world. The young man sits down in meditation and tries to rotate his inner core following his sister's example, collecting sparks of energy. A powerful vortex of thrust appears in the hero's body, and he is struck by the orange whirlwind that appears in his stomach. The system explains the scheme. When there is enough mass, the rotation itself attracts the nearest star, eliminating the need to run for energy. From above, the brother and sister can be seen simultaneously creating opposite swirls of star power in their rooms. The girl wakes up sweaty and complains to the cat that it is becoming increasingly difficult to absorb energy. The guy rejoices at the successful direct and reverse star vortex, and golden streams rush to his sister, causing her an unexpected sensation. The sister, surrounded by frozen sparks, wonders why the star power has suddenly become disordered and motionless. The frightened girl assumes that there is a powerful master hiding nearby, since the energy has changed so much. The mother, hearing her anxiety from the living room, worriedly asks her daughter if everything is okay. The sister, blushing, assures herself that she felt a strange and abnormal stellar energy. The girl concludes that the flash of power came straight from her loser older brother's room. The guy outside his door is almost taking over the vortex of stellar energy shining in his core. The young man projects himself in front of the huge planet of Hundun and twists the currents, forming his own mini-universe. The joyful hero notices that he now automatically absorbs the star's power if he keeps a safe distance. In the kitchen, the guy is content with what he can cultivate even in his sleep, thinking over new plans. Two glowing figures of female customers in an aura of star power come to the store owner for pets, surprising him. A red-haired girl and her partner materialize in front of the hero, reacting embarrassedly to his words. The guy, clearing his throat, explains to the visitors that their star powers are too weak and require serious training to control the beasts. The heroine, hearing about more powerful celestial beings, is amazed that the Thundermouse managed to rise in just 3 days. The guy, wiping away his sweat, notices that at their university, they usually only encounter animals of the 3rd or 4th level, while his pet already has the 7th. The young man places the blue Thundermouse on the floor, reminding the girl that the payment had already been made last time. The heroine takes the animal in her arms, surprised that the color of its fur has noticeably changed. The girl walks past all her creatures and notices that the huge beasts look depressed and do not show joy. The guy in the booth sighs and gestures for the customer to hurry up and leave. The red-haired owner thinks out loud that in a few days the pets seem to have become attached to the new place, although the temporary contract does not imply this. The blue-haired companion checks the huge lion and is glad that the wounds have healed and the stripes on his fur have become brighter. The girl thanks the owner for his care and asks him to recommend suitable food, calling the store virtuous. The guy, having estimated the price, decides not to overcharge and admits that her praise disarmed him a little. The young man points to a jar of fire spirit grass priced at 1,200 wen each, explaining that it is the perfect food for a fallen phoenix, and the guest repeats the price in shock. The red-haired athlete decides to warm up before the competition and check how much stronger her Thundermouse has become. The girl calls out her blue-haired rival, Layla, and offers her to immediately release her strongest heavenly beast. Layla creates a burst of energy and summons a stone titan from the rift, surrounded by blue lightning. The humanoid golem materializes in a puff of steam and the summoner sarcastically warns her opponent not to cry. The redhead assesses the situation, realizing that Lael has put forward her favorite trump card, a high-ranking beast of the 5th stage. She runs alongside the blue mouse, hoping that her pet will survive the fight, relying on the thunderclap and residual separation. Thundermouse, with pink lightning in his eyes, rushes to attack. Layla orders the golem Kshidi to play with her opponent, and he rushes across the glittering arena floor to intercept her. The stone giant uses Earth Split, shooting spikes out of the floor, and the mouse dodges, sparking with electricity. The redhead, seeing the golem's powerful blow, loudly gives the order Residual Separation, trying to save her pet from the stone debris. The heroine is amazed that the Thundermouse created 3 clones, and the red-haired rival, surprised, calls it Multiple Residual Division. The girl activates the protective star shield, but realizes its weakness, and asks her ally to give the beast the command to fight Kshidi. The rival explains that she only ordered the beasts to approach without attacking, and considers this an excellent opportunity to test the residual division against the very perceptive Xitigarbha. Both girls are shocked to notice that the golem has managed to grab one of the mice. However, it soon becomes clear that the animal has outwitted the enemy. The Thundermouse ends up on Xitigarbha's head, escaping capture. The golem jumps back in panic, avoiding further attacks, and its owner is surprised that Kshidi is afraid of her opponent. The red-haired athlete asks to be released from her rock shelter, realizing that the Thundermouse is very fast. The girl is stunned that her high-ranking pet was so scared of a low-ranking Thundermouse. The heroine admits that the pet's strength has now crossed all boundaries, and is delighted with this result. At this moment, the host in the arena announces the start of the next stage of the annual Fengshan University competition. The new second-year star, red-haired heroine Su Yanying, comes out to the left side of the arena. A professional competitor, who made it into the top 10 last year, comes out to the right side of the arena, a guy with blue hair. They introduce their opponent as the most insightful one, Li Ji, and they participate in turns, releasing 3 pets. The judge announces the rules. The winner is the one who defeats all of the opponent's animals first, and gives the command to begin. The audience discusses that Li Ji has released a weak beast and doubts his choice, but someone warns not to underestimate his tactics. The red-haired girl analyzes the enemy. The water beast is good at surprise attacks but of average origin, and prepares to summon a counterpet. Su Yanying summons a fallen phoenix clad in red-orange flames. The commentator on the podium is amazed, noting the high rank of the phoenix and warning that for a water beast it is a very strong enemy. Li Ji calmly raises his hand and declares his surrender. The guy confirms that he lost in the first round, which completely surprises the judges and spectators. The commentator announces Su Yanying's victory in the first round, and the heroine herself watches her opponent smile with suspicion. The rival says with a cold smile that sometimes you need bait to catch your prey. The girl notices the strange actions of her opponent and reacts warily to what is happening in the arena. A huge ground-based hunter appears on the field, and the guy explains that the fallen phoenix is the most difficult opponent for his beast. The rival explains that the Thundermouse and the heroine's other pets are land animals, and his pet is capable of crushing them with ease. However, the air phoenix attacks fiercely, although even a 5th stage beast has a hard time dealing with a ground giant. The guy, confident of victory, apologizes to the girl and categorically states that she lost. However, the attempt to stop the phoenix turns out to be futile. The protective barrier cannot withstand the pressure of the fire. The next moment, the opponent realizes with horror that he himself is engulfed in real flames, and he panics in front of everyone. The red-haired heroine looks back calmly and asks with a smile if he has finished his statements. The blue-haired guy commands to attack the arena with the ground spikes move, targeting the phoenix. The red-haired heroine commands her fallen phoenix to dodge dangerous sharp thorns. The girl activates the speed boost and wants to quickly get rid of the opponent's trap. She commands the flaming bird to use a fire slash to attack from the air. The enemy summons a ground hunter and a defense golem to help hold off the phoenix's attack. The heroine is surprised by the resistance of earth beasts to fire when her pet's attack does not bring the expected effect. The blue member smirks and explains that the phoenix will not be able to resist an adult ground-based catcher and declares the decision to close. The entire arena is covered in a net, a confinement skill that can restrain both low-ranking and very powerful pets. The net is rapidly narrowing, and the girl and the phoenix find themselves trapped, forced to find a way to escape. The red-haired contestant calls on her firebird to find a way out, realizing that both are in mortal danger. The red-haired heroine uses the 3rd stage power boost to try to escape the trap. The net continues to shrink around the girl and the phoenix, completely ignoring the enemy's fire attacks. The participant finds herself trapped in an energy grid, but refuses to give up and calls for her pet. The girl desperately calls out to the fallen phoenix, while her opponent advises her not to resist, so as not to get further injuries. The guy calmly states that this outcome was part of his plan and demands that his opponent surrender. The heroes are holding on with all their might, but on the verge of a breakdown, they are ready to give in under the pressure of circumstances. At this moment, the Phoenix suddenly releases a powerful attack. A bright beam breaks through the trap and reaches the enemy. Everyone watches in shock as flaming beams appear, one hit of which immobilizes the ground catcher. The spectators are amazed that the Phoenix has displayed an advanced 8th-tier skill that is not typical for its class. The masters discuss that despite its low stats, the girl's pet unexpectedly showed exceptional strength that fallen phoenixes usually do not possess. The girl with short red hair notes that the fallen phoenix of a teenager has truly accomplished a feat, and emphasizes his promising future, since he has not yet reached maturity. Scientists notice that the heroine also has a thunder mouse with a unique attack skill, and wonder who she is.